Okay, so this is my cooking channel debut. Doing something a bit different for YouTube than what I normally would do. Yeah. What I'm doing is trying to figure out where to put the camera. What I am doing. Well, no, you can put it on like that when you need to take a spot. So I just got to get everything all set up right. How's that looking? You know what? It's not too bad because you can see what I'm doing on the table there. Okay, good. Good. Now, so, yeah, I am making what I consider to be a staple of the West Coast diet, sockeye salmon sandwiches. Okay? So, why am I doing this? Why am I making a video about this? Well, I'm bored as fuck. But the other reason is just to show what healthy eating looks like when you are living in a hotel that does not have a kitchen. Okay? So I don't have a kitchen to prepare food in. I don't have an oven or a hot plate or even a microwave. Okay? If I try to boil water, I have an electric kettle. If I try to boil water, well, I have to unplug basically everything that's plugged in the room so that a breaker doesn't break. Because, if it's after hours, you have to wait until the next day for the landlord to flip the breaker. So you're going to be in the dark all night long. I've learned that the hard way. Okay, so I can boil water if I turn off all the everything else that uses electricity. And I do have a fridge. Okay, thank God for that. So it's pretty limiting in terms of what I can prepare under these circumstances. The food bank, by the way, doesn't seem to understand this and constantly wants to give me food that requires a kitchen to prepare. And I say it over and over again. The thing is, I must not be the only person who goes to the food bank who doesn't have a kitchen. There are straight up homeless people who, not only do they not have a kitchen, they don't have a pot to piss in, they don't have anything. They don't have a roof over their heads. How do those people prepare the food that the food bank is giving them? I don't know. And I don't know why this has never come up before. I've never heard of this issue before, but, now that I'm living a life of poverty, it's a huge issue. But anyways, putting that aside, trying to make the best of these circumstances. And one of the things that you can make without having a stove or anything to heat something up, and that's quite healthy, is salmon sandwiches. Okay? I'm trying to avoid pizza. Domino's Pizza keeps emailing me with these amazing deals where it's significantly cheaper for me to live off of pizza than it would be to make stuff like this, okay, or what I'm going to make with this. But, that's pizza. And, I'm trying to lose weight. I have, this really super cute hot boyfriend who's in his early 20s, and I'm in my 40s. And so, the pressure is on to, be as skinny as him. I'm almost as skinny. Okay, well, then I also need to be as toned as him. Okay, that's not going to address this stuff, but fuck, he's so hot. Oh my God. Anyways, putting that aside, this is what I'm going to use to make my sandwiches. Notice that it is sockeye. Sockeye, that's the French. Well, sockeye in French is the same as in English, apparently. Sockeye salmon, okay? That's the only salmon that is fit for human consumption, as far as I'm concerned. Wild red Pacific. It has to be wild, obviously, from the Pacific, and sockeye. Like, those are the requirements. Anything else is cat food, as far as I'm concerned. Pink salmon, wild pink salmon. I don't know who the fuck eats that shit. Besides, like, I barely want to give that to my cat. What else? Farmed salmon, which is also often called Atlantic salmon, at least on the West Coast. I mean, I don't know what Atlantic salmon is like when you actually catch it out of the Atlantic Ocean. That's a whole other thing. But farmed salmon, or also known sometimes as Atlantic salmon, Atlantic farmed salmon, whatever it is, yeah, no way. That is not salmon. That is not salmon, okay? It is not salmon. Ugh. I don't know what it is. It's some kind of a fish. I do not regard that as salmon. It has to be sockeye. I mean, I suppose if you're going fishing and catching something and barbecuing it, what else would have to say? Like chum and Chinook would be acceptable. You know, subpar, but acceptable. But that's more like for when you're going on a fishing trip, okay? I don't think I've ever seen Chinook salmon or chum salmon in the grocery stores. All right. So, just so you know, it has to be sockeye, okay? Which is the most expensive salmon. This can cost, what is it? $5.79, or maybe even $5.99 at Superstore. It's expensive as fuck, okay? You used to be able to get from Superstore a 3-pack with 3 of these cans for ranging from $12 to $14. No, $14 is too much. Like around $12. Maybe even like $10.99 on sale. You would be able to get 3 of these. Now you're paying upwards of $6 for 1 can. It's pretty brutal. It's pretty brutal that it costs that much. Okay? But it's part of my, what I've been living off of my whole life. So it's just something I have to deal with. Okay. Like, why doesn't the food bank, by the way, give out more cans of sockeye salmon? Like, come on. I actually did get a can once. Come to think of it, I did get a can of sockeye salmon from the food bank once. It was around Christmas time. Ooh, that was a bonus. Yeah, and that was in the hamper. Maybe I should take the hamper, even though they always want to give me a hamper, you know, which is full of these canned items that need to be heated up. But, you know, maybe I should just take it because there might be the odd time that you get a can of sockeye salmon in there. Just thought of that. You know, and just donate the rest of it. Okay, so let's get started here. What do we need? We need a cutting board. We need a bowl. I used to use the same bowl. My husband would be able to tell you about this. I used to use the same bowl for like, I don't know, 20 years to make my sandwiches in. Excuse me. But, you know, I moved here and I left that bowl behind. So now I'm using this bowl, which is totally, like, actually way easier to work with. The bowl I was using before was, like, made it unnecessarily difficult, but I just did it that way, out of habit, whatever. Okay, so you need a bowl. You need another little bowl. A little bowl to put the liquid in and some of the icky bits that you don't want to eat and the bones. Put this in here for the cat. Okay? Yeah, the cat eats sockeye salmon too. Okay. And I need okay. So it's my cutlery. It's in an empty salsa jar. I need a fork, larger the better. I need a spoon, like a little teaspoon, just like that. That's basically it. Okay, and and I need a can opener. Do you realize how fucking expensive can openers are? And how none of them seem to work unless you pay a small fortune. Okay, but luckily Value Village had my back And I was able to get this can opener from Value Village for $5.99. Okay, it's a pretty decent can opener, KitchenAid. It's my first time using it. I'm hopeful that it's going to make this job a bit easier than my last can opener. Okay, which is this piece of crap, which I'm gonna throw in the garbage right now. Whoa. I actually hit it. Perfect. Okay, I'm gonna switch the camera around and so you can see what I'm doing now. So, switch the camera around by doing this. Oh yeah. And of course, I put the gay in gangster. And gangsters love to eat sockeye salmon sandwiches. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Can we turn this on? What is it seeing? Oh! Oh my god. I don't need to turn the camera view around. I just need to turn it down. Okay, so you should be seeing, like, the cutting board, right? Yeah, I'm just gonna make sure. No, my field of vision, this is a improvised show here right now. Somebody was watching me earlier today and stuck around for a whole live stream of just ridiculous crap, and this is like good content. Of course, nobody's watching this one. Anyways, Murphy's Law. Okay, so we need to open this up. Actually, put this on here. Oh my god. Okay, I didn't even wash it. Like, maybe I should wash it, right? Let's rinse it. Okay. That was not off to an easy start. It's like, I feel like I can't even open this can. The last can exploded on me. Come on. Oh! Okay, it's doing it. It's doing it. Good. Oh my god, so much easier compared to that other piece of crap that I had. Which was bought brand new. Okay, so this is some nasty stuff. It's a nasty job a little bit. Yeah, this needs to go into the garbage. A little bit closer since I can't always hit it. Okay, so what we're gonna do now is move that big thing and just excuse me, drain the liquid out of the can and pressing down on the salmon with the fork to kind of squeeze the liquid out, because, you know, I really don't want the liquid. I'm trying not to. I don't want to consume the liquid. I don't want wet, greasy sandwiches. Okay, so I don't even know what this liquid is. Is it? What's the water that they? What's the water that they add to it? I suppose when they're steaming it. Isn't that what they do with this? It's like steam sealed. I don't know. My dad used to work at what was called they called it Canfisco, Canadian Fishing Company, for short. He worked there for a little bit of time. You know, when BC still had somewhat of a decent commercial fishery going. He was at the very tail end of that. I just remember they lost a lot of jobs towards the end, and he was pretty low in the union, so it wasn't really viable for him for very long. But he did work there for a little bit, and they do canned salmon, but they also sell you know, all kinds of salmon in all forms. Yeah, he worked in the freezer. Some old building in the downtown east side of Vancouver. He said it was haunted. Anyways, that's my little story about that. So, okay. So it's pretty much drained. Look at all the water that came out of this. Most cats are going to find this delicious. My cat I mean, she might have a little bit, but she doesn't really eat too much of it. She's weird. Okay, so now I'm gonna put the salmon in the bowl. And it looks nasty, but you know what? It's good shit. And I mean, there's bones in here, but you can actually eat the bones. They're soft enough that you can eat them. They're an excellent, I mean, you'll get to chew them. Be careful not to choke on them, but you can chew them. They're an excellent source of calcium to help fight osteoporosis. I'm going to take the big chunk of bones out. There's usually like a bit of spinal column that comes in, so take that out. Yeah, I don't know. Can you see? Like, this is what I'm working with here. And I'm quite a picky eater, so I like to have the best of the best of the best. So I'm going to take out pieces that look subpar to me. I'm only actually going to make, it says the title is Salmon Sandwiches, making salmon sandwiches. I'm only actually going to get one sandwich out of this can. That's typically how it goes. So, yeah. I noticed they've been selling these smaller cans called flaked salmon, and it's in a smaller can. I suppose that's like all these steps that I'm doing right now done for you. So I mean, I would never buy it. I'm suspicious of it. I'm just used to making it from this, so I don't really know what the deal is with that, but I'm assuming it's a more of a processed product. So it probably has like the bones and some of the ickier bits of meat taken out. But I'm used to doing that by hand, so I can do that by hand. And I'm not going to take out all the bone, just like the really big chunks. And like, I'm not going to be a total perfectionist, because when you mix it all through, like, I'm taking that out though. Like, I'm taking out anything that doesn't look pink or red. Okay, I'm taking out like big chunks of fat if I find them, or skin, or scales, like that kind of stuff. Okay, but I'm not going to be obsessed about it, because when you mix it all together, it disappears. As long as the predominant color is pink or red, you won't notice that other stuff once it's all mixed. Okay. And this is one of the healthiest things that you can eat. Yeah. And so I've been told that I need to eat more meat, so I'm deficient in vitamin B12. So, you know, but meat, generally speaking, does need to be cooked. So it's one of those food categories that you do need something to cook with, whether it be a stove or a hot plate or whatever, microwave, you know. But again, so this is a really important source of food for me, because this is meat, which I'm deficient in, and that doesn't require cooking, because I have nothing to cook with. Okay, it's unfortunate that it's so expensive, but hey, I guess it is. I guess it is what it is. Like, yeah. I mean, I'm actually being a little impatient right now. Like, I used to be more of a perfectionist, and I just had to give up on that. Okay. Now the cat is circling at my feet, so maybe she's smelling something that she wants. I don't know. She doesn't usually eat too much of it, though. Yeah. Come on. Like, this is seriously the grossest part of the job. Once you're finished picking through all the gross stuff out of it, and you know, I mean, there's probably some people who don't even do this, right? It's just because I'm weird. I like to eat good stuff. Like, I don't know, did my mom do this? I don't know. Like, my mom used to feed this to me when I was a baby. Okay. Okay, so yeah, you know, not all cans of salmon are created equally. Some of them you open up and it's just like a beautiful bright red color, and you know, almost all lean and not a lot of icky bits. And then some have more icky bits in them. This can, I would say, is an intermediate quality. So I've definitely seen worse, but it's not the best. It's not the best. If it was the best, it would be more red. I mean, there are some, like that part. That's like really good meat right there. The top of the line red. Now I'm losing it. Yeah. So there's some bits, but like there's some cans that like it's almost all like that. Luck of the draw, right? I mean, they actually do a pretty good job considering how much variation there is. They do a pretty good job of having each can be relatively equal, you know. And so that was Cloverleaf brand. I would also eat Gold Seal brand, which actually I think Gold Seal was the ones that they did at the Canadian Fishing Company, come to think of it. Would I have any other brands? Oh, I've had Oceans before. Yeah, that's not a bad brand. That's about it. I think I would be leery of President's Choice or No Name, just because, you know, salmon is not something to mess around with for quality. Okay. If it was super on sale, maybe I would get something other than that. I don't think they, at the superstore, they don't have anything other than Gold Seal and Cloverleaf. Okay, so that is basically done. This step. This little step. I mean, you could obsess over it, but whatever. I'm now going to wash my hands, and I'm going to be right back. All right, so the next step in the process is flaking it all. If you could, and then I'm going to add mayonnaise. But before I add the mayonnaise, I find it's easier to just break it all apart into little bits now. I used to do that after I added the mayonnaise, but I found, pre-flaking it before the mayonnaise just ensures more of a smooth consistency. Basically we're going to be making, I guess, what you call a pate, out of this. Like a paste. So I want to break everything down into small bits as possible. So that's why you want a big fork with lots of space between the prongs. Enough space for meat to get through. And, like this bowl, shallow, flat bottom bowl that you can push the fork against. If the bowl is too round, you're not going to have a flat surface to push the fork against. Okay, so that's why it's kind of important to have the right shaped bowl. The bowl I used to use for years had a flat shape on the sides, and I would flake it against the side of the bowl. I like this bowl better though. It's easier, this bowl. Okay. I mean, there's only so much you can say about making salmon, right? I'm trying to fill the air here. Yeah, I'm quite proud of myself when I do this, because it's a lot of work. I'm a perfectionist. I don't just like slap it together. But it's worth it. It's tasty. It's so tasty. And it's, wait, there's something gross. And it's super healthy for you too. Super healthy. I mean, I do wonder about the Fukushima radiation from Japan. Like, I used to be worried about that. I stopped eating salmon for a few years after the big earthquake in Japan released all this radiation in the Pacific Ocean, because, you know, the salmon from BC, yeah, they catch it, it comes back to the rivers here to spawn, but it's out in the ocean for 5 years before that, living its life, and the salmon swim, you know, halfway across the Pacific, if not more than halfway. So, you know, they get within reach of Japan, you know. So just worry that Fukushima radiation was contaminating it. They did do some tests after some time, after consumers raised some concerns. I think it was more for show than anything, but the tests came back showing everything was fine. I mean, whatever. At a certain point, I just got over it. Like, I have to eat. And I think that's kind of the attitude that people in Japan took too. Well, they took that attitude almost right away. Okay. Okay. So it's like pre-ground up. Almost like you could think of ground beef. Well, this is ground salmon. Okay. So now, put this down for the cat. I got my spoon dirty, so I have to rinse that off because it's going in the mayonnaise jar, and I don't want salmon going in the mayonnaise jar. Okay. Just trying to clean as I go. Okay. Okay. So yeah. Next ingredient is, you know, not just any old mayonnaise. It has to be Miracle Whip. It doesn't have to be, but for my likings, that's what I prefer. You could use any kind. And I don't go for diet, I go for the full fat. Now, if I put too much mayonnaise in, I'm going to ruin it. So this is a delicate art. But about that much, you know, quite a heaping spoonful. Probably just about right. And I'm going to put a dab more. And it's better to put too little than too much, because you could always add more later on. See, I just about that. No, it's good. It's okay. It's good. And so you guys should mix this up really well. Really well. So I'm actually going to put the mayonnaise away because I can tell I'm not going to need any more. And I'm just going to mix it, mix it, mix it, mix it. Oh my goodness. So the surface that I'm preparing this on is not a countertop, it's a dresser for clothing. But I use it as my countertop. Okay, right next to the bathroom, so easy access to the sink. going on pretty well. I think I added just the right amount of mayo. And when I'm done mixing this, I'm just gonna spread it out on a piece of bread. I use white sourdough bread. That's what I'm using now. I used to use whole grain, multigrain. That would be, you know, keeping with the healthy vibes. I don't like just regular white bread with it. Like, if it's white bread, it has to be sourdough. And a lot of people, like my mom, the way she would make it, and probably most people would make it, they would spread mayonnaise on the bread. Yeah, not me. I basically don't like mayonnaise. I think it's gross. Only thing that I ever would eat it in is like this. And some people would also add to this. They might add green onion, or you can add celery. I used to add celery actually a while back, but you know, I don't do that now. I just keep it simple. And it really has to be mixed up properly. I mean, I'm almost done, but you know, just when you think you're done, give it some more mix, because I mean, you don't want to eat a clump of salmon that has not properly mixed through with the mayo. It should be homogeneous, as homogeneous as possible. Okay. So I'm just perfectionist at top. Okay. Some people also add salt. I do not. I do not do that because it's not so healthy, and also, you know, it's salty as it is because the salmon has been spending, like I said, 5 years in the ocean, which is full of salt. So it's already got salt. Holy, it's hurting my arm. Like, I'm actually doing probably more of a perfectionist job than I usually do. So I think I can call it end this. Although, you know what? I shouldn't be complaining. Like, I need to be working out. Look at this. 32 minutes. 32 minutes, and I'm not even done yet. Like, that's how much preparation goes into this one sandwich. There's no way a restaurant could ever operate like that. Okay. One sandwich takes a fucking hour to make, yeah, right? Okay. So, get rid of this stuff. Alrighty, time for the bread. Right here. Yeah, this is quite good bread, you know. I enjoy it. So, 2 pieces is all I'm gonna need. And once I'm done making the sandwich, I'm actually going to put it in the fridge because I like to eat it chilled. I don't like this. It's already a little bit chilled from the mayo which came out of the fridge, but it needs to be even colder. So I don't like eating definitely I would not want to eat room temperature salmon sandwiches. So yeah, it's going to go in the fridge for a little bit, just to chill it. This fridge, by the way, it's a tiny little fridge, but it's actually quite powerful. Like, it will freeze it. If I'm not careful, it will actually freeze it. I don't want that. I don't want the salmon to be frozen, but just chilled. You know, that's good because I don't want to wait too long. I'm kind of hungry right now. So I don't want to wait too long for it to chill. So I won't have to because this fridge is actually quite strong. Now I've got a lot of salmon here. I almost have enough for another half of a sandwich. But I'm not going to bother. I'm just going to pack it onto here because, you know, bread is expensive. That bread that I just showed you was $3. $3 a loaf. Okay, and it's not any gourmet special kind of bread either. It's from Superstore. Okay. So basically enough for a proper sandwich. Yeah. If I had made another half of a sandwich, it would not be enough. Okay. Okay. So I don't know. Can you see what I'm doing? Hopefully you can. Yeah, you can. Okay. So that looks pretty good. How thick? It's like about. I would say it's just over a centimeter in thickness of salmon, like maybe a centimeter and a half. Okay. Okay, like that. And okay. I'll put it on this plate here in the fridge. But before I do like to cut it in half. After that, this knife. Okay. I don't keep my knives right here because, yeah. No, just because. I'm not going to say why. Turn it around because you've just been pressing and flattening the salmon into the bottom piece of bread, which is going to, if I don't turn it around, if I keep the bottom as the bottom, its gravity is going to keep pressing down on that in the fridge, and that slice of bread is going to get thinner and thinner. So I always turn it around so that what was the top piece of bread as I was preparing it is now the bottom piece of bread for going into the freezer, or the fridge, as it is. And, yeah. I don't have, okay. I'm just gonna put this cloth over it in case any ice drippings are to fall into the sandwich. Okay, so that's that. That's how to make sockeye salmon sandwiches. It's gonna be so good. They probably only need to be in the fridge for about 5-10 minutes, and then I'm gonna eat it and enjoy it. Okay, so that is how you make sockeye salmon sandwiches. Super healthy. One of the few options that you can have without turning on the oven. Not cheap, but you know, you can't live off of pizza. So there you go. Have a good night, everyone. Peace out.